No, everybody's making progress, so it's good. Nobody's suffered any setbacks, so we'll make our decisions as we go into the game tomorrow. But there's certainly more options available to us.
DC, really one of the first league dynasties, I guess. Right now, they're having their stadium issues and kind of at the bottom. But just sort of what this franchise has meant to MLS over the years.
Well, obviously the history of DC, in the early years, that first MLS Cup and the victory there got them off to a good start. They're actually, when you look at the start of that season, for them it was not a very good start, but then they were able to get rid of some players, add some players, bringing in, Jaime Moreno. After the fact, was a big plus for them in that, not just that year, but that's really what catapulted them into that early years of domination. So they were an important part of the league history in that regard. They had probably the best training facility in the league at that time. They were using the Redskins' old training facility, so that was a positive for them. The atmosphere was good in RFK, so there were a lot of good things, good memories from those early years there.
Just so we don't have to bug you tomorrow night, any analysis, thoughts, wishes on the World Cup final?
Obviously wish to the best of the girls. They seem to be playing their best soccer right now, which is a good thing when you're in a tournament like that. You want to be hitting your stride and playing the best as you move forward in the tournament. I thought their game against Germany was their best game so far. Their game against China was an uptick, and this was an even further uptick. And if they can continue that, I think they'll get the result they want against Japan.
Have you ever dealt with as individually gutting a soccer moment as the England lost yesterday?
My coaching career, have we taken late goals? Yeah, I've suffered a pretty, some pretty good ones. Well, no own goals.
Time to go to a final.
Yeah, but we were also, when I was with the Galaxy, we were aggregate up on San Jose 4-0, and we ended up losing 5-4 in overtime. So that was a pretty gutting one as well, because some of the goals we gave up were extremely heartbreaking because of the poorness of the defending on those. But so it's definitely something that's there. I thought it was interesting, the commentators afterwards, and certainly, stuff like that happens as a defender. Sometimes you're trying to lunge into the ball and that just happens. But they want to say, people will forget about it. And I think the German girl who commentates on Fox Sports said, no, the people will always remember this, which to me was a very German approach to it. And that's just, she has to get used to it. That's just the way it is. But she did everything she could. There's no fault to her. It's not. It's one of those moments that happens, and I think England had a good run in the World Cup. When they look at it, and that's what they've got to build their program on now.
Might vary with the individual, but as a coach, do you need to go say they're there, or do you just leave the athlete alone?
It depends on your athlete. You as a coach, your player. There's some players that you got to go talk to, put your arm around. There's others that they just want their space and time at that point. They don't want to talk to anybody, and maybe you talk about it a little bit later. But eventually, life goes on, and you move on as well.
Another match tomorrow, USA Guatemala, some Sounders involved. What are your thoughts on that fixture?
It's a preparation match for the Gold Cup, so you're not sure what kind of lineup Jurgen's going to put out there. If he's going to put out there a mixed lineup, or is he going to put out a lineup that he's looking to play in the Gold Cup. The Gold Cup is an animal that's changed over the years, with them being able to trade out 5 players as they go into the quarterfinal stage, from the group stage. So that's really made it a 28-player roster, if you want to look at it upon it that way. So sometimes teams, because of the difference in competitive levels between teams, sometimes teams don't reveal their full team until they get to that quarterfinal stage. So it'll be a good test. It'll be interesting. It'll be a good run out for the U.S.
Did you have any thoughts, reaction to Dempsey losing his captaincy with that team?
That's really a Jurgen question. He's probably has his rationale or he's thinking that.
Any precautions with the heat being a little higher than normal? Any hydration issues?
No, we're telling our players to hydrate as much as possible. At least it's not, not humidity like it is in some other places. And we're playing tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, so hopefully it'll be cooled down a little bit. It's always, because we play on turf, it's always hotter on turf than it is if you were playing on grass.